Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Galactic Reviews, where we will be going over the most recent Marvel movie, I believe,
Yeah.
Galactic 4. Galactic 4. Yeah, Fantastic
Cosmic
Four.
Force probably closer, but Galactic works.
Yeah, yeah. We used to be the Galactic Four. Um,
Oh, that's gonna be a hard edit. Now I
while
regret
we
that comment I made about women in Walmart less.
while we be will we be welcome back, guys. It's been a while. While we will be reviewing The Fantastic Four. I'll be perfectly honest. I wasn't expecting much from this movie. I was expecting to be disappointed a lot, and I was quite honestly surprised at how good this movie was, in my opinion. I think Marvel is getting away from like the origin stories of superheroes now, since nowadays most people already know them and they've already been shown once before with previous actors and everything. So they're just going straight into storylines.
It depends on the
Depends on the but like for bigger names,
well,
Spider-Man.
like for the ones that like were acquired by from Fox, like Fantastic Four and X-Men, I kind of expect something like that. But
Well, yeah. But either way, I mean, I kind of am glad we didn't get to see an origin story of this set of Fantastic Four because we've already seen a pretty good one and probably the best one with the early 2000s Fantastic Four. And then the other one that we don't talk about, we just don't talk about it. In my opinion, this one was very good. However, I still will say I enjoyed the Silver Surfer from the early 2000s one over this one. However, this one did a very good job. It did feel like the Silver Surfer 100%, but I think we just had a better showing of like the Silver Surfer's abilities with the other one.
yeah,
Honestly, I don't have many complaints with this besides the fact of I don't quite understand how this ties in with the ending of
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts at all. They
I'm
don't go over
ex
that
I'm
at all.
expecting that to be explained in Avengers Doomsday.
Probably, but it would have made sense if they had something at the end of this movie to kind of explain it, since it is the Fantastic Four and they were introduced in the Thunderbolts.
They hinted at it, but I got
Because
I,
I
I
I
got
was
the feeling they
expecting.
didn't want they wanted this to be like its own story and
Well,
not
yeah, which I'm completely fine with. I was kind of expecting they would do some interdimensional travel to get Galactus out of there, and they would be trapped and go with him. I
that's
was
what I thought
expecting
too.
something like that, but that was 100% not the case. So a little disappointed in that, which brings the next question of I don't understand how they're bringing in Doctor Doom
I am suspecting that
since they're going to be going to a different universe.
I'm suspecting that either something happens and then Doom takes like with the after credits, Doom takes their kid Franklin and they have to chase him or
Oh,
for some
chase him
reason.
across to different. Okay,
Yeah, they're either
that
chasing
would be
Doom or
interesting.
they're running from
From Doom,
something.
I can see that, but it doesn't make sense for them to run away since their whole thing with this movie is like we don't run away from
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So
It seems
that
more
one,
like a chase.
but if they're chasing to save Franklin, that makes sense. However, I am very glad to see a first live action movie with Franklin in it. I'm excited to see the future of Franklin,
Hmm.
because he's such a fun character. What would I rate this movie? Honestly, I really enjoyed it, so I'll have to go with probably an 8 out of 10. I don't have many complaints as of yet, unless you guys point stuff out. But then again, this is the first movie I've seen in like a month and a half almost. So I haven't seen some bad stuff lately. So I guess this was a good like first impression back into it.
Nice. Well, this was a pretty good one to get back into, I guess.
Yeah, I will admit that.
Payson, do you
And
want to go?
uh, sure, I'll go. I guess when I went in to the theater, I wasn't expecting a whole bunch. When I came out of the theater, I was very impressed and I would say, I guess, somewhat excited. It was, I did, I thought it was good at the time. And then Yeah, I just started thinking more about the movie. Once the hype died down in my at least in my mind, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, some of the stuff doesn't isn't quite as good as it could have been. Silver Surfer is one part of it. I think you kind of mentioned that, Zach, where previously shown Silver Surfer, we got to see his level of power, whereas in this one, not so much, other than like her fast speed and everything.
Fast speed,
And that's
indestructibility nearly, and can pass through objects. And that's the extent we get to see.
yeah, whereas
Besides the shockwave, we do get to see the shockwave if you pay attention.
Barely.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's just some things where it's like he felt more powerful and more like a threat in the first one, whereas in this one it was kind of like a okay, just waiting for her to turn at some point. One of the things I did like was I liked how they made Johnny, or they showed that Johnny was smart and kind of nerdy. Like that's what he is in the comics, but he just
Mhm.
has money and so he likes flaunting stuff around. He kind of doesn't
In
give a
my
frick.
opinion, he's kind of like a Tony Stark and a Batman, or Bruce Wayne, not Batman. Just probably not as smart, or at least you can't be that smart when you have Reed Richards there standing next to you. So
Yeah. I did like the way that they showed him in that. I thought that was good. But I would have still liked to have seen him being more of a showboat still. Like have him still being like kind of like at least trying to be a ladies' man, and with him like being rich and powerful and all that, and like
I
literally
I
having
can
power. I would have liked to have seen him be a ladies' man.
I
That way
can
it has
agree
more of
with
an
that,
impact
but
when he has to give up everything to save Franklin, or when like he said he volunteers himself to
I
be.
suppose that's true. The only thing I would say the reason why is because it's these Fantastic Four are aged, so we don't know how long they've been the Fantastic Four for.
4 years.
It says I think they said four
Oh, did they say
years.
4 years?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
said
I
four
mean, then
years.
it kind of makes sense that he doesn't need to be as showboaty anymore. I mean, he still can be. It's just he has no real need to.
Yeah, but they still need to show like him at least being a
I know
ladies'
what you
man.
mean.
Like there's still some stuff they could have done.
Yeah.
I would have rather the Silver Surfer have been Norrin Rad. I would I the whole love thing with Silver Surfer and Johnny Storm. I get what they were trying to do because they were also doing a love thing, trying to do a love thing with the Thing and some lady at a school randomly, or at least like hinting towards a future relationship with the two of them.
Yeah, it just felt
It just fell
I
flat
understand
that
the
one.
purpose kind of to kind of have it feel like they're trying to fight for specific reasons
Yeah,
to
it just
stay, but at the same time, I it's not really necessary. It's kind of nice because those are the only times we get to see them by themselves or see their character
yeah
outside of Reed Richards and Susan Storm. But I would have enjoyed to see like something else from them.
yeah. There's one moment where you the one thing I have like I actually liked the Thing. I thought the Thing was pretty good. The one thing I have to say about the Thing is that he doesn't at all regret like him no longer being human at all throughout the movie, except maybe in one scene where he's looking at, and they
Yeah.
show this in the trailer, where he's looking at a TV screen and seeing his old self, and then it turns off and then shows his reflection in the glass. But that's the only one where we actually get to see him show any sort of like remorse
Yeah.
about no longer being human. And I would have liked to have still seen that because that's a big part of the Thing. Pedro Pascal was not a good Reed Richards. He was probably the weakest thing about that movie, in my opinion. He just didn't feel at all like one of the smartest guys that technically should be the smartest guy in the room. It just didn't feel like it felt more like Pedro Pascal than Reed Richards. It didn't feel like a character. So, and I'm getting a frown from Andrews, so that means
Not
I'm
it's not a frown. It's a I genuinely don't know. I Fantastic Four is probably one of the some of the superheroes that I have the least experience and knowledge with.
I would have liked to have them actually have seen Galactus destroy the planet instead of just seeing the aftermath to show how terrifying this guy is.
Hmm.
Because you don't
Yeah.
really get that throughout the film.
Especially the biggest part was when Susan Storm's just kind of pushing him single-handedly all the way back down
Yeah, and
quite a few blocks.
I did like how they tried to like say, okay, she overexerted herself. It's not like she's just all powerful. She
Yes,
dies,
but I enjoyed
but
it
it
better with the early 2000s one where she's like getting nosebleeds, like bleeding from her eyes.
yeah, like
You
it would
can
have been
see it.
good to see
She's
like the see the
physically in
damage.
pain.
Yeah. It would
Yes.
have been
Well,
good
with
to
this
actually
one, it's
see it
just like,
instead of
oh,
just
her
her
heart stopped.
screaming. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think the thing somebody said I remember seeing this comment that the thing actually never punches anybody in the movie, which
He
Doesn't.
doesn't.
yeah,
No.
I know,
He gets
which
dropped like a cannonball, but he never throws a punch.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't that's wild to me like that at some point he wasn't
And
just
yet
like
the whole
jumping
thing,
and
he's like, and yet the whole movie, he's like, I just want to hit somebody.
yeah, and the whole movie they're trying to get him to say it's clobbering time and he never actually does any clobbering.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of redundant.
Kind of ironic. I mean, we don't even hear Johnny Storm say flame on.
No.
Yeah, no, don't hear him say
No.
that at all. I didn't mind
They were so
ironically enough,
focused on the clobbering time instead of flame on, which I would have enjoyed him.
yeah. I
We
didn't
didn't even think about that.
I didn't
Mhm.
mind the CGI baby, Franklin. I didn't mind him. I thought that was okay. It didn't take me out of the movie, but didn't like make me so self-immersed that I was like, oh, that's a CGI baby. It's just okay. Whatever. They made it work for what it needed to be. As for much crap as I'm giving it, it's still it felt better than Thunderbolts. Still, it just it's a far cry. And for this one, I've given it so much slack because we've had other Fantastic Four movies and the early 2000s ones they nailed there was stuff that they nailed on that, and in this one there's almost a direct comparison with, at least as far as like Silver Surfer and Galactus. And I don't know, I prefer to go watch that other one than this one again if given the option.
Yeah. However, I enjoyed Galactus better in this one solely because
Oh
he was a
yes, no,
person and not a worm.
yeah, no, he looked way better in this one. He just wasn't as terrifying as this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we want to discuss it further, there's probably other stuff I've got that's just haven't spoken about yet, but I don't want to take up all the time in this meeting. So
Like, all right.
I'm gonna give it a I think I gave Thunderbolts a 5, so I think technically I have to give this a 5.5, but 5.5, somewhere around there. I will say this, the hype worked. I liked it when I was leaving. It's just when I started thinking about it, that's when I was like, okay, some of this stuff doesn't quite add up. Like the plan, the way the characters act, this
Yeah.
isn't really working. But I got what they were trying to go for. It was somewhat
Also enjoyed
commendable.
the fact that Reed Richards almost got ripped in half, overstretched.
That was somewhat goofy.
Since it looked like he didn't get stretched that far, and I'm pretty sure Reed Richards has
No, he can
can
stretch
go.
pretty far.
Yeah, but like in the movie, it didn't look like he was
Yeah, I
stretched
know.
that far at all
Yeah.
before he started to
I
like
know what it was
tear.
trying to do. It was trying to go for tension wise, but I
Yeah,
mean,
but honestly, you're not going to get as much tension as Megatron ripping Jazz in half.
yeah, no, you're not. I can imagine like seeing that in the movies and that shocker of just Jazz being ripped in half.
It was heartbreaking.
I got what they were going for with that. It felt goofy, and I would like to have seen his powers be used in those kind of goofy manners when he's in the lab.
Yeah,
Instead, we only got like the few. We only
I
got like
wasn't
a
a big fan
one.
of the CGI for him moving around in that final fight either.
I
I
didn't
don't
hate
know.
it, but I didn't.
I didn't hate it. It just, I don't know if it's just because I didn't see him do anything else really throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, like he didn't use his powers at all throughout.
It just
Yeah,
seemed weird. I'm like, oh, I forgot he could do this.
yeah. No, it's just like his powers weren't used at all until like the end. It felt like, and in the lab, he should be using his powers all the time. So that would have been a good introduction, just seeing him use it in the lab, and then all of a sudden, just seeing him what he can do in the field.
Now,
But
Andrew,
yeah,
what's your opinions of this movie?
Um, I liked it. I'll probably put my rating out first. I do not remember what I gave Thunderbolts. If I gave Thunderbolts a 7, I'd have to put this at an 8. If I gave Thunderbolts a 6, I'd have to put this at a 7. If I gave Thunderbolts at a 7, I'd probably want to bump that down to a 6 and put this at a 7. Um, this coming out, I was like, man, this felt like the Avengers. Like this, watching this felt like watching kind of the Avengers for the first time. Um, the stakes weren't too high. It was a self-contained movie. I
Yeah.
didn't feel like I had to watch 20 other movies and 3 TV shows and 15 shorts just to understand every little thing. This I was like, man, like this is good. It's they weren't trying to go too big with this, and I like that. I cannot say anything about how Pedro Pascal did as Reed Richards. I liked him. I don't know Reed Richards. I know facts about Reed Richards, but I don't know anything about him. I wish they did. I agree. I wish they did utilize his powers more or show that he has powers more. But on the flip side, I like that they emphasize that what makes him Mr. Fantastic is his brain and not his
Oh yeah.
ability to stretch. And I guess like yeah, maybe he wasn't shown as smart as he could be, but also this is set in like the 50s, the 60s or whatever. So in his era, comparatively to our 50s and 60s, making it that futuristic, is pretty dang smart. Putting it in context of time period. But also it's gonna be a doozy when he goes to the other world and sees everything else.
Yeah, look,
Um,
they still don't have flying cars there, and
they
yet he
do
did.
still. That's
So
right. That's right. Um,
Tony Stark was
they,
trying,
they
but he
they
never made it.
probably could have done a better job at showing his super intellect. I wish Galactus was bigger, but I understand that if Galactus was bigger, they would not have it. I don't know what they would have done for the movie. I really don't. Um, but I like the Galactus that can just eat planets. Just I like that Galactus. But the size worked for the movie. I disliked the stretching when he stretched because I after this we went to a comic book store and I was like, look, he's stretching more in the cover of this comic book
Yeah.
than he did in that movie.
Yep.
Other than that, not much else I didn't dislike. I can agree with the Sue Storm, like should have shown more strain other than, dying, but like physical strain. Because it was kind of just like, I did it, and then passed out. I will say yes with like the things of like, oh, Johnny showing more of his actual personality and like showing more of the individual characters and their individualities, like with Ben and his kind of remorse. That would have been fine, but that would have made the movie 3.5 hours. And I think they
Yeah.
had to choose between either characterizing and like really giving a good glimpse of each member of the team or like have a good story and a good
I mean,
plot.
that
And
is
I'd
that
rather
is
that
fair.
and then maybe see more of them in the future movies. But I do agree it's like we didn't
Yeah.
get a good enough look at each person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Which I
story,
suppose is also a part of we didn't get an
And yeah, we didn't get an
origin.
origin, yeah.
So, I mean, the origin story we got was like a 10-minute introduction of like, this is them. They went to
Yeah.
space. Got in, which I think was fine, all in all. But at some points, I felt like we saw more of the robot. I forget his name off the top of my
Kirby.
Kirby.
head. Yeah, than we did some of the like
Mhm.
Johnny or
Yeah.
Ben.
And with the baby, like I get it. There have been some atrocious CGI babies, and I'm glad that they really only use CGI for the birth. Um, Otherwise, it would have probably looked like the infant would have looked too old if they got a real baby to try to play a newborn.
Yeah.
Um, Especially in like a in space scenario where they're probably like on wires and rigging. That's unsafe for a baby. And then the rest of the movie was switched between real baby or green screen baby. And also I can understand that. You don't want to traumatize a child by being like, "All right, baby, cry, take three." That's not safe. You can't do that. That's not.
No, but I like to imagine it now
Yeah.
in my head. It's like Christ, slap it on the ass.
Yeah, we can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore. There's labor laws. So it's like, oh, that scene was definitely green screen, but I get it. I was okay with the stretching, because I don't know how else they could have done that. Um, I'm so convinced they talked to the Netflix team, the CGI guys, either the same team or they talked to the Netflix CGI team that worked on One Piece live action because it looked the exact same. The
Hey,
stretching looked the exact same as One Piece live action.
that is fair. I didn't think of that.
Other than that, I thought it was pretty solid, especially comparing the last several kind of years of Marvel projects we've got. I will say it was very weird because you got we got the after credits of Thunderbolts, and we're like, "Oh, how is this gonna tie in?" Because we know it's on another unit or another Earth. How does this tie in? And then just no answer. And I'm like, now the after credits of Thunderbolts makes like feels useless. Like, what was the
Yeah,
point of that?
I was thinking what originally was going to happen for since that for the end credit scene of Thunderbolts was that Fantastic Four was in this movie they were going to lose and end up having to leave.
I was also thinking that.
So I was thinking that, and then that surprised me how they ended it and they still won. Um, but yeah, it was a good story concept. I just think the writing was atrocious. I just think the writing wasn't as good as it could have been or should have been.
I think
it. I
it's
mean,
better than it's been in a long time.
I
that
I
is true.
I
It's
won't
better than
disagree
what
with
it's
you on
been.
that, but there's still plot holes, plot problems. So
Yes, and sadly, you cannot make a perfect movie anymore, or at least Marvel can't. Um,
They peaked already.
yeah,
I will
yeah.
say I did like how they showed how powerful Franklin was, and everybody just kind of being all like, "What the frick just happened?" I did like that bit, but
I
I
am a
it
little
it
bit
yes.
worried about Franklin being introduced.
I mean,
this is the
yes, so
problem
am
with
I,
like
but then again, we
if
also
they
have what's his name from
Oh, that's
Thunderbolts.
right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
if they know how to
So,
write them, it probably will be good. But the problem is, I don't know if they know how to write them. They probably don't. So
well,
that's what
the
has me
next thing
worried.
is, are they going to just age Franklin? Is he going to be in the next movie
I
as a
know
kid, like a young kid, like
I
six,
have no idea. I know
seven
he's
years
in
old?
Secret. I know he's in Secret Wars. At least I think he's in Secret Wars from what I saw on. I think I saw on social
It
media.
would be kind of cool if we get to see a young Franklin instead of baby Franklin, a young child Franklin
Yeah,
actually doing something.
he might be younger Franklin in Doomsday, and then just like a young adult Franklin in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
That might be the way they go.
Okay.
But
But I
I have
mean,
no
like
idea.
circling back to the end of Thunderbolts, we already knew Fantastic Four was coming out by that time. So they
Yeah,
I
didn't need to have that end credit sequence just to introduce Fantastic Four.
that
yeah.
might have just been a red herring to throw everybody off on how the movie was going to end.
It could have been.
It could have been, but even then, it still just doesn't make sense
On
because now
top of
we have
that,
to wait for a few movies.
on top of that, I don't think they are that clever. So I don't know why they did it that way, but they did.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know either, man.
I don't know. I mean, it'll be fun to see. I mean, Doctor Doom wasn't even in this movie, and that was unusual for Fantastic Four
Well,
if
did
he's
you
even
not see
in
the
that
end credits?
universe. I mean, yes, but still, like throughout the whole thing, they're talking about all these villains, and Doctor Doom's name doesn't get dropped once.
You are very right. I mean, how we got that one small snippet of the very beginning of the movie during like a United Nations meeting and Latveria's seat was empty. That's the only like hint we
Yeah,
got.
I also
yeah,
don't like how I don't like Mole Man. Like he was just a fat guy with glasses, like
yeah,
with like Captain Cold 3D glasses. It was just
yeah.
like
I love those glasses, but yeah,
I'm sorry when Incredibles does a better Mole Man
I was gonna
copy
say,
than
I was like, why is Incredibles in here?
when Incredibles does a better Mole Man copy than this Fantastic Four movie.
yeah, that is true. That is true.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Galactic Reviews. Join us next week. We'll be watching Nobody 2, and we'll see you next time on Galactic Reviews.